Hey, yeah. Welcome to week 15 of the course. We're really getting down to the end here. As always, I've read through your response papers. By the time you will have received this, I've looked at a few of them that have come in. They're still strong. You guys are still working on the discussion board section strong. If you're missing work, you really need to take the time to get that work in as soon as possible now. As we come to the end of the work, end of the course, I will eventually post next week. I will post the final due dates for all work, but that'll essentially be the last day that this class meets. Um, and but between then and now, and you have the opportunity to complete all of your work. So be in touch with me if you're concerned at all about your work on that. I noticed, I want to say, first of all, thank you to all of you who um, came out the other day on Saturday on the 25th and helped us out with the powwow. I just want to say that, we can't put on events like this at the college without the help of volunteers and the work. And, the gathering of a powwow anywhere, whether it be at a place like Madison College or whether it be in the homelands of one of the many sovereign tribal nations here in the United States. It's always a gathering that requires the work and time and commitment of a lot of people. So I thank you all who came out and helped us out, and I hope that you enjoyed yourselves. We had a good turnout. It was a successful event, and I always look forward every year to this particular powwow. Even though for my tribe we don't powwow is not traditional to us. We do a stomp dance, which is much different. Um, that said, if you weren't able to come out and help out, and you would like to get some extra credit, I think I should make that available to you, to be fair. And so in order to do that, what I want you to do is maybe to write about a page or a page and a half, reflecting on what you think a powwow is based upon some research that you found. I would suggest that you go and reread Vine Deloria Jr.'s Anthropologist and Other Friends that we had assigned for the early part of this course, and maybe see what Vine has to say about powwows, about how they've become this tradition in the latter part of the 20th century, this Pan-Indian tradition, and it wasn't something that people did extensively, even prior to, say, World War II. Um, the powwow is really a growth of something that has come out of World War II, but it's one of the most traditional Pan-Indian gatherings and spaces that you'll find anywhere across Indian country. With that said, so just you have that option available to you. If you want the extra credit, then you need to send me an email saying that you want to do the extra credit, and then I'll have you just submit the document to me via email as an attachment, and then I'll go in and add the points. Um, okay, now we're shifting on to by this time you should have finished your response papers for Erdrich's Love Medicine. It's a great novel. I hope you all enjoyed reading it. I think it's one of the more powerful novels. I think it's probably, other than Tracks, I think it's one of Erdrich's best novels. Um, I just picked up, I bid on the silent auction for Antelope Wife the other day. And so I look forward to reading that novel by her, which I haven't read for some reason. It just hadn't had the opportunity or the time to get to it, but I have now. Um, we're going to be reading Simon Ortiz's long poem, or maybe you might find it as a series of short poems. I tend to read this as one long poem. That's I think it has to be read in that way, but that doesn't mean I'm always right. You may choose to read it differently, and that's okay because you're in that control as the power of the reader, as we've talked about somewhat in this course over the last 15 weeks. Um, you I want you to think about these events. The poem, think about the setting of this poem, the timing of this poem. I think it's one of the greatest American Indian poems to ever be written. And I don't say that lightly. I think it's a strong and powerful poem, and I think everything that we've read in the course up until this point, I think, is in some ways prepared us for a reading of this. It deals with the 1864 Sand Creek Massacre. And if you don't know what that is, you're going to learn about it in the next 2 weeks. Um, I will provide you with some video linkages to that, but you also might want to look up the 1864 Sand Creek Massacre because that's what Ortiz is really writing back to. And he's trying to make sense of, and I share in his difficulty in making sense of this, exactly what are Native American people, what are American Indian tribal people, what is our relationship in the history of the United States? Certainly it can't be one of only genocide. And I think if you came out, if you ever have a chance to go out to see a gathering of Native people, you'll realize that we don't always we um, have to deal with that history. It's not an option that we have. We don't get to forget that history. It's one that carries with us. And that is where I think it's where Ortiz really, he dwells upon that moment in this poem. He takes the time to sort of dwell and dig down into that and to try to understand what that means and to try to make sense of this dream that he has, this thing that he continues to call the last line of the poem, right? I won't give it away, but this idea of America, he really unpacks that and takes it apart over the course of this poem. You can read the thing all at once. You can read it in one setting. I've actually had us as a class, when we do this face to face, we've actually sat down and spent an entire class period reading this poem aloud. I think it's a powerful thing to do. But you don't have to read it all at once. We're going to spend about 2 weeks on this poem. So take your time and dwell into it and get to know the 1864 Sand Creek Massacre. Get to know My Lai of the Vietnam War. Get to know the role of soldiers returning home and sitting in a VA hospital. There's so many, a Veterans Administration hospital. There's so many angles into this poem. I just want you to have fun with it and read it, but also understand that it's a poem of a very serious nature. So for this week, you'll have, and for the next 2 weeks, you won't have a response paper. You're done with response papers. You will have a final paper that'll be due, but it won't be an extensively long paper. I will eventually probably go ahead and post up the remaining weeks next week. After week 15, I'll go ahead and post up weeks 16 and 17 for people that want to finish up the course a little bit early if they have that time. So just keep your stay tuned to your email and stay tuned to the announcements for the course, and I'll begin to release more of the course for the final weeks of the course. I'll begin to release that more as we come forward. But you need to get through with the reading of the Ortiz poem, and you'll have journal entries and discussion for that, and then you'll also have the one final question that you'll need to answer for the course, and you'll have one video that you need to watch at the end of the course for week 17. So with that, any questions at all, let me know. Please contact me as soon as possible via email so that I can take care of any questions or problems or concerns you may have. I'm always here for you guys. I'm here to help you with your writing in any way that I can. So reach out to me and get in touch if you need to, and if not, I'll talk to you next week. All right, thanks so much. Yep, bye. Yep, Washington.